The indictment of a former president is historic. But our nation living up to the principle that no one, not even a former president, not even Donald Trump, is above the law? Now that would truly be uncharted territory.
A few years later.
Dear, we're getting some breaking news, and we want to ask you about it. But apparently, Alina Habba, who is, what's her job now? She's the acting. She's had a couple. New Jersey, yeah. She is the interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey. Yeah, she's acting all right. She's acting. Well, she has apparently now dismissed charges against Mayor Ras Baraka of Newark, so no longer being charged. He went to court last Thursday, but it is being reported that she has apparently filed charges against New Jersey Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. And I'm wondering your reaction to this news as we're trying to find more information. I don't believe the indictment has been unsealed yet, but our team, NBC News, is efforting to find out. But just your reaction to this. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just learning the news as we all are now. It is chilling. The reason why they're doing this is to shut me and my Democratic colleagues up. They're doing it to make us afraid. It's not going to work. If anything, it will only strengthen our resolve. But make no mistake about it, this is not normal. It is not the sort of thing that happens in a healthy democracy. It is truly chilling. And I would urge all of my colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans, even those Republicans who say one thing in private about Trump, but then never want to say it in public, this should be a time when every member of Congress speaks out.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, finally, in 2025, under the Trump administration, Americans have decided, the American government has decided that it no longer wants to be insane and do insane things. Well, what do I mean by that? It has been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Well, we can go back decades and find that the American people have been sitting back, twiddling our thumbs, hoping, wishing, and waiting for our government to be something that it wasn't. Wishing it would do something different, wishing that we could get a different result, and yet we sat here while our government officials, our elected officials, did the same thing over and over and got us the same result. Didn't matter which party, two sides of the same coin, two wings of the same bird. Go back to Bill Clinton, who was bombing aspirin factories in the Middle East. Go to George Bush, who took us to Iraq. So many thousands of American soldiers maimed and killed under previous presidents. And all we wanted was somebody to do right by America. Remember when Hank Paulson gave away nearly $1 trillion? Under the Bush administration, he said, if we don't save the banks, not only American banks, but banks around the globe, because these American banks have been doing some shenanigans and selling off some faulty assets around the world, enriching themselves and their friends and stretching out their legacy, making their families wealthy. Well, if we don't save them, then all the world will end. It is a financial crisis, and y'all, they gave away money and never did answer for where the money went. Okay, well, Barack Obama killed an American citizen in a drone strike without due process. Y'all, political shenanigans, one administration after the other. And here we sat, saying your team against my team against your team, hoping that one team would rise up and do better. Well, it took a businessman, not a career politician, not a career public servant like Joe Biden. Racist Joe Biden. Oh, we got all the receipts on Joe Biden and his history. No. Took Donald Trump to step in and say, I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to run America like a corporation, like a business. You know why? Because it is a corporation. Just make sense, right? Makes sense to you and I, but it don't make sense to those people who live off of your downfall in DC. Don't make sense to the people in the swamp. Well, y'all, under this administration, Trump 2.0, and we're going to give him a little grace in 1.0 because they did him dirty, they did him bad, and he didn't understand what was going on. But now he has his wits about him. He has his footing. And it seems like under this new administration, y'all, Well, we're going to do things a little different. And finally, in our lifetimes, people are going to be held accountable for their misdeeds in government. Exhibit A, LaMonica McIver, Congresswoman from New Jersey, went down there to Newark to storm the gates at a detention facility for illegal detainees waiting to be deported in this country. Y'all, the woman was down there pushing and shoving and acting a fool. Now, she was down there with the mayor. Ross Baraka was there too. But he miraculously is not being charged for the activity that he participated in there. Now, y'all have to find out on your own why he's not being charged. Because Donald Trump's former personal attorney has been appointed the U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey, and she's filing charges against this congresswoman who was throwing blows. She was swinging. She laid hands on the police officers and ICE officials who were there. Why she did it? I think she was caught up in the moment. I think she lost herself. I think she hearkened back to her childhood down there in New Jersey. And she just starts swinging on folk. Well, y'all, she's being charged. She may be sanctioned, censored, even expelled from Congress. Might be some penalties coming. She might lose her job. You are about to lose your job. Some things might happen that are unfortunate for her, but at least you and I, as we sit back and observe all these political shenanigans, can say, well, at least somebody got held accountable. And I know some of y'all on the other side will say, well, people have been held accountable. You see how long those January 6 folks got locked up? Some of them were locked up, isolated in the hole, solitary confinement for over a year's time. Old ladies for wandering around the foyer of Capitol Hill. You think that's fair? Okay, well, that's your side. And maybe you came to that conclusion before I did, but I'm just now getting here under Donald Trump where he's saying, look, I have put my people in place. We have been persecuted by previous administrations. And now we are going to get our justice for those in the previous administration who did us wrong, who tried to eliminate us, who tried to destroy the Republican Party and conservatism in this country, and who tried to take his life outright.
Slamming and all the other crazy stuff that they're going to say about her. How do you see this?
We've all seen that video, and it's absurd to charge a member of Congress, Representative McIver, with doing anything other than doing her job. Yes, it was an intense situation. There was no crime there. What was Ras Baraka's crime? The mayor. They just had to throw out the charges against him. What did Judge Dugan do over in Wisconsin?
Right.
Michael, she simply controlled her courtroom. She let a migrant exit into a public hallway. The Department of Justice under Donald Trump and AG Pam Bondi is running amok. Donald Trump promised he'd be a dictator on day one. He kept going. This is the latest example. No normal administration would do this, but the courts are going to have the last word with this. This will not stand.
Tell us, when you see that she's now been charged with these allegations, is that what you experienced? Is that what you witnessed?
Well, I think the Congress people went there to do their job, to have oversight. I think, ultimately this is not about even what happened there. It's about a fight in this country, about due process in the Constitution of the United States. I think there's some people who believe they could do what they want to do and violate people's rights and their due process, and there are people who are trying to provide oversight, and it's causing conflict in this. I didn't see any of the things that were stated. I didn't see any of those things happen. So I think that the Congresswoman will be vindicated. And the videos are clear. Everybody can see those videos. They'll see the whole thing, and it'll be clear to me, and it'll be clear to her in court.
I mean, the videos are pretty clear, are they not? I mean, she's shoving elbows, some punches. I mean, this is
there's a lot of
violent
pushing and
activity
shoving.
against law enforcement, is it not?
It's a lot of pushing and shoving. I don't know if
would a regular person, if they came and did that to a federal officer, get away with it?
regular person,
Like a regular, just a non-politician.
They might get pardoned.
If they showed up at a federal facility,
They might get pardoned by the
but were
president.
they charged? Were they charged? Were they convicted in court?
Let me.
Yes.
Would a regular person get away with it?
You brought up what she was doing or not doing.
Y'all, it looks like accountability has come to government, and we glad to see it. We were hoping for it. In fact, we voted for it. The great Thomas Sowell once said that when you get used to preferential treatment, fair treatment seems like discrimination. Well, we got some fairness coming down the pike here, y'all, and it seems like people are going to finally be treated as they treated others in the past. And see, I'm for it because I understand that if you don't hold people accountable, from the Clinton administration, from the Bush administration, from the Obama administration, from the Biden administration, if you don't hold people accountable who do wrong, then the people who come after them, the people who rise up the ladder behind them, the people who they're actually training to take over when they retire, well, those people will have the same expectation that they will not be held accountable, and they'll go right into those same seats and do that same political dirt. And it leaves me and you sitting here twiddling our thumbs, hoping that someone will do something different, something will change. Well, it won't change until someone is held accountable. That's why we're so glad for stories like this. Shout out to the sister, LaMonica McIver. Sorry you got to go through this, but you brought it on yourself. Sorry you got baited like the plenty other educated black women before you who got baited into situations where they stepped out on that weak limb for that Democrat Party. Whether it's you or Letitia James or Fonnie Willis or Stacey Abrams or anybody, Jasmine Crockett, any of y'all out there caping and doing this foolishness for the Democrat Party, you always fool around and find out.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's keep it moving with more of these top headlines. Some breaking news to bring you right now out of Newark, New Jersey. Well, you might remember some of these scenes we brought you, about a week and a half ago? Let's take this. You remember this? This was outside Delaney Hall, that privately run facility. It was contracted by a private company to house undocumented migrants pending deportation. And you remember, at that very scene were 3 Democratic members of Congress from New Jersey and the mayor of Newark, Ross Baraka, who happens to be also running to be New Jersey's next governor. So you see there the melee that this caused as these members of Congress and the mayor of Newark were trying to gain access to the facility. Well, in front of me right now, I have an official statement, an official update from the acting U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey. That's, of course, Alina Habba, who at one point was President Trump's personal attorney. She's now in an acting capacity in this role here. Take a look at that. You see Baraka in the baseball cap. You also see there LaMonica McIver in the red blazer and the red glasses. Let's read this statement from Alina Habba. I have it in front of me. She says this: I take my obligations as U.S. attorney seriously. I understand the responsibility that comes with my position, and I will work diligently to uphold the law and deliver justice to the people of New Jersey. She says, after extensive consideration, we have agreed to dismiss Mayor Baraka's misdemeanor charge of trespass for the sake of moving forward. So, headline there, the charge against the mayor of Newark has been dismissed. That was a misdemeanor charge of criminal trespass. Now, the statement goes on to say, in the spirit of public interest, I have invited the mayor to tour Delaney Hall. The government has nothing to hide at this facility, and I will personally accompany the mayor so he can see that firsthand. She says, the citizens of New Jersey deserve unified leadership so we can get to work to keep our state safe. She says, the dismissal against the mayor is not the end of this matter. So, offering an invitation there to Mayor Baraka to tour Delaney Hall. Now, she goes on to say, let's put up more of this video from the scene itself. Take a look at this. Habba says, congressional oversight is an important constitutional function and one that I fully support. However, that is not an issue in this case. Haba says this: Representative LaMonica McIver assaulted, impeded, and interfered with law enforcement in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 111A1. That conduct cannot be overlooked by the chief federal law enforcement official in the state of New Jersey, and it is my constitutional obligation to ensure that our federal law enforcement is protected when executing their duties. She says, I have persistently made efforts to address these issues without bringing criminal charges and have given Representative McIver every opportunity to come to a resolution, but she has unfortunately declined. No one is above the law, politicians or otherwise, Haba says. It is the job of this office to uphold justice impartially, regardless of who you are. Now we will let the justice system work. So that is the headline. She is dismissing the charge against Newark Mayor Ross Baraka, but deciding to charge Representative LaMonica McIver there in the red blazer, that photo. Remember, she did this alongside her Democratic colleagues from New Jersey, including Rob Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coleman. But McIver has been charged over that chaotic Newark ICE detention center protest, and Mayor Baraka's charges were dismissed. So this is all coming in as we speak from the acting U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Haba. So McIver has been charged there after Haba says she made efforts to address these issues without bringing charges and has given McIver every opportunity to come to a resolution. Haba says this: McIver has unfortunately declined. And McIver is responding. Her statement on the charges filed against me, she says this: Earlier this month, I joined my colleagues to inspect the treatment of ICE detainees at Delaney Hall in my district. We were fulfilling our lawful oversight responsibilities as members of Congress have done many times before, and our visit should have been peaceful and short. Instead, ICE agents created an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation when they chose to arrest Mayor Baraka. The charges against me are purely political. They mischaracterize and distort my actions and are meant to criminalize and deter legislative oversight. This administration will never stop me from working for the people in our district and standing up for what is right. I am thankful for the outpouring of support I have received, and I look forward to the truth being laid out clearly in court.
Now, y'all, it wouldn't surprise me at all if somebody said, hey, you can't do this to me. I'm a blackity black. Well, the mayor was a blackity black too, and they let him off. They let him go. What is it about you? What did you do differently that he didn't do? Oh, well, maybe you're not. Okay. Okay, well, you're not the mayor. Maybe he got more political clout in Jersey. Or maybe you was just dumb enough to put your hands where they didn't belong. Maybe you shouldn't have been down there in the first place. Maybe you should have been somewhere minding your business. But no, you had to stick your neck out there for the illegals. Well, I know some people in Newark, and I know that the blackity blacks in Newark got problems. You could have been out there fighting for them. You could have been down there at the adoption center trying to fight for some kids. You could have been down there at the school board meeting trying to advocate for some kids. You could have been advocating for blackity black families in your district. And not just the blackity blacks. Anybody in your district, advocate for something that matters to the American people who put you in office. Because ain't nobody voted for you to go down there to that detention center and expel all of your energy for people who don't even belong in this country. I don't think anybody voted for that. Nobody in your district. That ain't what they voted for. It's not what the people want. And now, because you used poor judgment, you're going to get your comeuppance, you're going to get your justice, and you're going to see that whole Democrat Party, they talking about, Hakeem Jeffries said, oh, this is a red line. Man, what you going to do about it? You already said, when you got elected this time around and saw that you had a minority in Congress, you said, what are we going to do? We can't do anything. We don't have any power. We're in the minority. What do you expect from us? That's what you said in a press conference, bruh. So don't come out here now You little kitty cat out here trying to roar like a lion. Nobody's buying it. What you're going to do is sit there and take it. You know why? Because when y'all had the power under that Biden administration, we know Biden wasn't the president, but somebody was. Somebody used the auto pen. Somebody made decisions. All those Obama holdovers, whoever was acting as the president, when y'all had the power, you were merciless. You did everything you could to destroy this country. Well, how the pendulum swings. And you about to fool around and find out one by one if necessary. Or y'all on the Democrat side, y'all on the progressive side might just get some group therapy. Who knows? Who knows what Donald Trump is going to do? He a little unpredictable. He like to keep it that way. But we like what we see. And we're getting what we voted for. I might keep y'all updated on this story. The woman has been officially charged with federal charges in the state of New Jersey. It's going to be interesting. If nothing else, she's going to have to spend a lot of money on attorneys. It's going to hurt one way or the other. Y'all let me know what you think about this interesting story of comeuppance, of recompense on that Democrat side. Finally, justice on the horizon. I'd love to know your thoughts. Drop them in the comments and let me know what you think about this. And don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to the channel and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And don't forget to meet us over in the Patreon where we banter back and forth and we can continue this conversation. Because more conversation steers us towards more answers. And that's what we like, y'all. Like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.